In the aftermath of D-Day, German soldiers initiated a widespread retreat, with Allied troops pushing through France, Belgium, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands. By September 1944, the stretched thin Allies neared the robust German barricades of the Siegfried Line, which had remained unbroken since the onset of World War II. The audacious strategy to sidestep the Siegfried Line came from British Field Marshal Bernard Law Montgomery. He proposed crossing the southern part of the Rhine River, thereby freeing and penetrating northern Germany's industrial core. Dubbed Operation Market Garden, the assault required 3 Allied airborne units, the Market Segment, to parachute and glide into the Netherlands, capturing crucial areas and bridges. This would pave the way for infantry, the Garden portion, to traverse the Rhine. Yet, from the commencement of Operation Market Garden, a series of contentious choices and adverse conditions emerged. Notwithstanding their gallant endeavors, the Allied troops couldn't realize their goals and suffered significant casualties. The following details the missteps. 1. British landing zones were too far from Arnhem. On the dawn of September 17, 1944, 3 brigades of the 1st Allied Airborne Army, comprising the US 101st and 82nd Airborne and the British 1st Airborne, set off from English bases, journeying over the North Sea towards the Netherlands. The duty of the 101st Airborne involved the seizure of Eindhoven, and numerous bridges spanning the canals and streams north of this location. Conversely, the 82nd Airborne's assignment was to secure regions around Nijmegen, including a vital bridge crossing the River Wall. A combined force of 10,000 British and Polish soldiers from the British 1st Airborne, often referred to as the Red Devils, faced the most daunting mission, securing and defending the uppermost bridge over the lower Rhine in Arnhem. Due to the potent German anti-aircraft fortifications surrounding Arnhem, these units landed up to 8 miles from their target, even after some Allied strategists recommended that a minor coup de main unit should directly land atop the bridge. Merely a lone battalion of the 1st Airborne, consisting of less than 800 soldiers, successfully reached the bridge at Arnhem. The majority, however, were cornered by the Germans near Austerbeek, a village situated miles away. 2. The Allies had too few transport aircraft. Owing to restricted availability of transport planes, the British units in Arnhem were deployed in the Netherlands over a span of 3 days, rather than simultaneously, diminishing both the element of surprise and the effectiveness of the assault. Numerous soldiers from the 1st British Airborne descended via parachute and gliders on the initial day's afternoon, September 17. However, the 4th Parachute Brigade along with the remaining glider units landed only on the subsequent day, with the Polish Brigade facing even further postponement. 3. Bad weather hampered landings. Thick mist in England on the operation's second day, coupled with heavy, low-hanging clouds over the combat zone in the Netherlands, hindered the movement of troops and the delivery of essentials. These supplies were vital for the British units striving to secure Arnhem Bridge. 4. Radio communications failed. Compounding the difficulties, the forested terrain and the distance between various British units caused numerous radios to malfunction. This disrupted communication, hindering the 1st Airborne Division and its leader, Major General Robert Roy Urquhart, from orchestrating the assault on Arnhem. Historian Anthony Bever notes that Urquhart's communications team had foreseen issues with their radios prior to the mission. Furthermore, Urquhart had voiced significant reservations about Operation Market Garden, even labeling it a suicide operation a mere 2 days before Allied aircrafts departed for the Netherlands. 5. Allied ground troops advanced slowly. By the close of Operation Market Garden's initial day, the 2nd Battalion of the 1st British Airborne, led by Lieutenant Colonel John Frost, had stationed themselves at the northern side of Arnhem Bridge. They secured nearby houses, ready to defend the bridge solo until backup ground forces could join them. However, the reinforcing column, spearheaded by XXX Corps, encountered significant obstacles. The route to Arnhem was constricted, allowing only 2 vehicles side by side. German soldiers armed with Panzerfaust anti-tank tools struck down the foremost 9 British tanks at the onset of their journey. By day's conclusion, the Allied ground unit had only progressed 7 miles. During the subsequent day, September 18, they traversed 20 miles, meeting up with U.S. forces near Eindhoven, a location the 101st Airborne had successfully freed from German grasp. Although they battled through the wall by September 20, they remained a daunting 8 miles from aiding their beleaguered British peers in Arnhem. 6. Role of SS Panzer divisions. Prior to the commencement of Operation Market Garden, Allied intelligence received information about 2 fortified German SS Panzer tank divisions positioned near Arnhem. Despite these reports, operation commanders, including Lieutenant General Frederick Boy Browning, chose to proceed with the mission, a decision that proved catastrophic for the Allied forces in Arnhem. The sluggish progression of the XXX Corps allowed the Germans to reinforce their defenses, challenge the advancing units at Nijmegen, and unleash a devastating assault on the isolated British battalion in Arnhem. They valiantly held their ground before capitulating on the battle's 5th day. With the primary aim of the mission unachieved, over 3,000 British soldiers fortified their positions in Oosterbeek until September 25. Eventually, they had to initiate their withdrawal across the Rhine. 7. World War II was extended and the Soviets, not Western Allies, claimed Berlin. While Operation Market Garden did free a significant part of the Netherlands from Nazi control, established a base for future Allied assaults into Germany, and highlighted the bravery and resolve of the Allied soldiers in Arnhem, its consequences were severe and enduring. Of the about 10,600 Allied troops that ventured north of the Rhine in September 1944, nearly 7,900 were either killed, injured, or captured. The operation saw over 17,000 Allied casualties, in contrast to the Germans' 8,000. Had Operation Market Garden been a success, the Second World War in Europe could have potentially concluded before the end of 1944, with the Western Allies marking a victorious entry into Berlin. But instead, the war persisted for another 5 months beyond that point. Ultimately, it was the Soviet forces who took Berlin in May 1945, a pivotal moment influencing the trajectory of post-war Europe.